Hi, welcome to True Creeps, where the stories are true and the creeps are real. We'll cover stories from grotesque gore to the possibly plausible paranormal, to horrifying history, to tense and terrible true crime, and everything else that goes bump in the night. We're your hosts, Amanda, and I'm Lindsay, and we want you to join us while we creep. We cover mature topics. Listener discretion is advised. Hey everybody, this is another shorty, and today we're going to talk about the pervasive fear of sleeping with your feet uncovered. I felt like I had so many questions around it, and I was like, I need to know about this. Like, are we all doing this? Is it just me? Am I bizarre? I know I'm a little weird. How weird am I? Now, there are going to be parts of this episode in the first half where we're going to say, if you have a moment, to pause and watch the video that's in the show notes. If you can, do it. If you can't, I'm going to describe it right after the pause. So you can listen to this either way. Either way, watch the videos though. But just so you know, if you're listening and you're like, oh, okay, I want to make sure I'm ready, I'm poised, and I'm ready to play along, if you will. I'm very excited. Amanda, do you sleep with your feet uncovered?
I actually sleep with them uncovered.
No.
Because I live in hell and it's fucking hot all the time forever.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't like that at all.
I prefer them covered, but I prefer not to be 1,000 degrees too.
Okay, I'll talk about this in a minute. I have very strong beliefs on the appropriate way to remedy that. But okay, do you feel like something is going to get your tootsies?
Yeah, my cat.
Oh, your cat is doing it. You know, Harry is sometimes he used to be, when he was younger, a bottom of the bed goblin. And if you would move I think I called him a toe troll, because if you would move your feet in the night, he would bite them. So to lay very still.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it depends on where I am. So I know I've talked about where my brother lives, my old house. There, yes, like everything had to be covered, because what if it came into the room? But like here, there's nothing spooky. You know what I'm saying? It depends on your setting.
That's fair. Look, you could always bring something spooky in though. Just because it's not tied to the house doesn't mean that it couldn't be tied to the theoretical mandible in your hutch.
They don't want to be here.
Be like, it's too fucking hot.
They'd be like, you know what? Never mind. It's chaotic. It's hot.
The ghosts are sweating.
There's a lot of animals. We gotta go. Well, I'm taking it you have to have them covered.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There's no sleeping. Okay, so there are a lot of people on the internet who say that if they sleep with their feet uncovered, they have bad dreams. Isn't that interesting?
Oh.
And there's people who also report that they'll feel their legs being pulled in the night. Don't like that. Mm-mm. And there's a lot of people who talk about, like, okay, for temperature regulation, it's one leg in, one leg out. Mm-hmm. But literally fuck temperature regulation when there is literally something that is going to get your Lamborghinis in the night. I can only care so much about temperature. The way to solve for this is one leg in.
Says someone who lives in a real climate.
Look, I can't help your choices. No, the correct way to sleep is one leg fully covered, one leg out, but foot in. I'm also, like, I pointed at Amanda when I said, and foot in. We're going to talk in a little bit about, like, where does this come from? But I feel like I've seen in movies where people fuck with feet. Like, they fuck with your feet while you sleep.
A lot of haunting movies, too. Like, they'll, like, tug, or, like, the kids especially. Like, the kids' haunted movies, I want to say, like, they'll grab their feet or grab them out of bed that way.
Yes, people being dragged from their bed. Can I just tell you, the keywords that I put together to, like, get the information that I was looking for this episode is bizarre, and I have to be on some type of list. Like, there's simply no way that I'm not now.
You were already on that list, don't you worry.
I'm on a new list, like a whole brand new list. Okay, let's look at our first link. Now, if you're going to watch along, pause here, go watch the video. That's link 1. And this is from Gerald's Game. Now, if you didn't get to watch the clip with us, what it is a scene from Gerald's Game, which is on Netflix. Go watch it. What a fucking ride. Basically, there is a man that comes from the corner and licks her feet. She wakes up to it. Is that not fucking horrific?
Okay, but like, so if you had your feet under the covers, though, that thing wouldn't come then, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like, nothing would happen?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
It wouldn't happen. No, I'm not saying it's a logical solution. I'm just saying it's the solution. Okay. So this next one, I'm not sure if this is like the original scene from Campfire Tales, but it is very similar to it if it's not. And again, pause here. Go watch link 2 now. So again, if you're not able to watch the clip right now, so here's basically what's happening is there's this kind of like tween teenage girl, and she's in her bed, and it's set up like it's a little bit more lifted than usual, but it's not a loft bed, and there's a mirror across from her bed. Earlier in the clip, you see that her dog has his bed under there, so when she goes to sleep, she reaches her hand down and he gives her some kisses. However, in the scene that closes out the clip, she reaches her hand down for some kisses, and then she looks in the mirror, and she sees in red, it says, "People can lick too," written in the mirror. And then there's a dude under the bed licking her finger, and his like head pops up, and he like makes eye contact with her. And like, again, this fucked me up forever. It still creeps me the hell out. Like, just thinking like people can lick too, it gives me the willies. I don't even need to watch the clip. It freaks me the fuck out. When I tell you that that fucking movie ruined me as a fucking child, like, I still am afraid of that. I still buy beds with that in mind. Like,
If someone can fit under there?
yes.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like, that's a fear that I'm like, okay, something can be under your bed. Do you look under beds when you stay at like Airbnbs and stuff?
Amanda, I look everywhere.
Yeah.
Every single fucking where. Like, I am looking in closets. I am looking under beds. I'm looking in dressers. I'm looking at many things because I simply cannot. I have to know where everything is. There was recently this person on TikTok who they got a message from Airbnb saying like, you need to pack up and leave now immediately. And they left and they were like, we can't tell you why. I'm sorry. What? You're going to fucking need to tell me right now. Like, was I being surveyed? Was, like, were they in the house? Like, what was going on? Hard pass.
Yeah, that one freaked me out.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about dream interpretation. And what does it mean when you are dreaming about being dragged from your bed? So per Dreamsopedia, the go-to for all dream-related things, dreams about being dragged from your bed is a message for a way for you to better remember an important component of your life. Help will come from someone whom you least expect it.
Would you say being dragged from your bed is help?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Unless you were, like, really bad at waking up in the morning.
I guess, maybe. You have a spiritual guide. This dream is a signal for masculinity and fertility. You need to move on.
The last one reminds me of how I feel about ghosts.
Thing under my bed, you gotta move on.
You need to move on.
I don't understand it. I don't know if you've ever had a dream dictionary.
Mm-hmm. They don't make any fucking... They're making that shit up.
No. There's so many crazy things. My mom, when we were growing up, had one. And she'd be like, oh, just look in the dream dictionary. And then we'd be like, oh, it means everyone's going to die. Like,
love that.
oh, okay. So another dream meaning. What is the meaning of a dream where your blanket is being pulled off? And this one, we deviated from Dreamsopedia and got it from smartsleepingtips.com. Another go-to.
You know that it's going to be always like a tongue-in-cheek, like us making fun of the source when we tell you, like, per so-and-so.
So while your real blanket protects you from the cold, the one in your dream protects you from your problems, your fears, or insecurities. When the blanket in your dream is finally pulled off, you're telling yourself to finally take a risk. Trust your gut.
I feel like the next line is, you go, girl.
Is there a Wikipedia we can edit?
Oh, I wish we could. So, like,
okay.
As part of the research for this, I was like, is this a thing worth being scared of?
Yeah.
Are people going to touch your feet in your sleep? The answer is yes. Let's talk about true crime.
So in India, July of 2014, a woman woke up to see her neighbor at the foot of her bed touching her feet.
No.
No, thank you.
No.
It's bad enough when I go to like a haunted hotel and like some of the, reviews have been like, I woke up to someone standing at the foot of my bed and then they vanished.
Mm-mm.
And then all night you're like, is someone here? Is someone here? This is worse.
Yeah.
In charging documents, they said that he had sexual intent and that he touched her without her consent. First, he argued that he had an alibi. Then he said that the door to her home was unlocked. So that constituted consent. What the fuck?
Literally, like, just fuck off.
The door was unlocked, so I thought I'd just go in.
Well, you want me in your house.
I check all the doors in my neighborhood. So obviously he was charged with trespassing and outraging the modesty of a woman.
Okay.
Okay. I want to know how, like, did he just go to her door or did he, like, go to both neighbors' doors? Like, how did this work?
Yeah.
So he was sentenced for 14 months. So then, prepared to be collectively annoyed here. He got 12 months for trespassing and then a mere 2 months for touching her without her consent while she was fucking sleeping.
She's never going to sleep well again.
Yeah, that fucked her up for life.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
But, you know, walking into her house was worse.
Yeah, literally steal all my shit. Just don't touch me while I'm fucking sleeping.
Right. So there's also cases of sexual assault where young girls were molested, but their attacks began with their feet being touched first. That's gross. That's awful.
Yep.
This wasn't a single case either. There were also numerous cases of women who were raped after their feet had been touched.
Which is a real fucking wild thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I was researching was like dragged from her bed, touched her feet, touched his feet. There's not like an aggregate of like cases where people's feet were touched.
I can't imagine the photos that came up, by the way.
I was not looking at photos. There was a lot of saucy titles in that, but I was like, but like, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, Google has so many opinions of me. And so
she loves feet. She looks up CIA shit all the time.
All the time. But when I typed in touched her feet, lots of things came up for women. When I typed touched his feet, it was mostly porn. And I was just like, ugh, this is the worst version of a, like, you know, like, and like, it was case after case after case after case, and it was disgusting. And a lot of them, I was only able to find like 1 or 2 documents. This particular one really freaked me out. So in 2011, a woman woke up because she could feel a cold hand touching her thigh. And that's where she first felt the hand. But per the assailant, when he was talking to police, he said he had touched her feet several times first. When she woke up, he ran from the house. And he said that he had purposefully broken into her home to touch her while she slept, and that he had a foot fetish, and like he had always planned to touch her feet. Then it gets worse. He comes back during the day, days later, to apologize to her.
No, get out.
She's like on the porch with like, I think it's like a friend and a family member, and she's like, the fuck, and runs inside and calls the police. He was arrested and charged with battery. He would later go on to say he had seen her near or in her home when he was walking by or riding his bike past her home, and that he had wanted to be her boyfriend.
There's better ways, dude.
Better fucking ways. Now, his name is Salvatore Pascucci, and he was found not guilty by reason of insanity.
What the fuck?
And from what I understand, I was looking at his criminal history. It looks like he's still in a mental health facility. But in 2003, he pled not guilty for trying to break into a woman's home. And when he had tried to break into her home, she happened to be awake.
Oh, threw him off.
And it looks like he got probation, that he had early release from that probation.
Oh my gosh.
Ugh.
So he's just like, well, now I'm out. Let me do it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, years later, but like, yikes, 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 yikes. And so one of the things that we looked at was like, why are we scared? What am I afraid of? What is that? Things are going to get my feet concerned. And it stems from that monsters under the bed fear that kids have. And that is kind of like a subset of the boogeyman fear. Per Merriam-Webster, the boogeyman is a monstrous imaginary figure used in threatening children. And it is so prevalent that we don't even necessarily think about the origins of where that story comes from, right? Like, it's just like, oh, that's a part of it. You know, like we have Monsters, Inc., which is a lovely and cute story about we eventually are going to harness the power of laughter instead of screams. But it's so prevalent that we don't even necessarily consider why. And it's like a centuries old belief, which is wild to me.
Yeah. I mean, under the bed, fair. I think we have drawers under ours, so like nothing can really be there. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I didn't like growing up, and I still don't really care for today, is when the closet door is open.
Oh, I cannot sleep with my closet door, but...
Nope. So let's get into another reason people believe they're feeling their feet being touched, and that's sleep paralysis. And I feel like this is just a very scary thing that happens to some people. So sleep paralysis, we've actually already talked about it before a little bit in our ghost episode, but 30 to 40% of people experience this at least once. Have you ever experienced it?
You know, like the more I research into it, because I looked at a little bit more into it for this that I was like, oh, maybe a future episode. I like put that to the side because this was a shorty. But the more I look at it, the more I think that like some of the experiences that I've had that I thought were ghosts may have been sleep paralysis because it's so spot on. But I'm also like, science describes things in a way that makes sense. And that doesn't mean, it doesn't discount the paranormal sometimes.
Yeah. So our most realistic dreams typically happen during REM. So REM sleep's like the deepest of sleep. It's called REM because of rapid eye movement. And that is, like I said, the deepest part of your sleep in the sleep cycle. In this stage, your eyes can move around under your eyelids, but the rest of your body cannot move. It's paralyzed. So likely you're paralyzed so that you're not like acting out your dream while you're sleeping. Probably hurt someone accidentally.
Or yourself.
So sometimes people wake up before the paralysis stops, which sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
You can also have tactile hallucinations, you know, like someone feeling your feet.
Ugh. Ugh. But I also, you know, to me, that's too convenient of a catch-all, right? Oh, it could be any type of hallucination. So anything you see, taste, touch, hear, it's not real. Is it possible that we are also more like open to the otherworldly during that sleep cycle because we have different processes going on?
Mm-hmm.
Why not column A and column B?
I think so. Like, our brains are capable of so much. And I know, like, we don't even use all of it. So I've read things where, like, when you're sleeping, perhaps you are using another part that you don't so much use when you're awake. And you're capable of more things. Like, I know we've talked about it a million times now, like astral projection and things like that.
Yeah.
And perhaps something's happening during that, but your body is feeling what's happening during the other thing. Either way, like,
Don't like it.
Don't like it, yeah. So what we need answered from you is, how do you sleep? Are your feet covered or uncovered?
Tell us how you sleep. What are you sleeping like?
Yes, tell us how, where, when,
Address.
everything Lindsay needs to know to add it to her weird spreadsheet.
Are your doors locked? Is there a convenient window?
Can you leave it open? Make it easy?
I'm joking. Like, I'm 5'2". I can't get into any window.
No.
With no upper body strength.
Do you sleep with socks? Absolutely fucking not. I would never. But if you do, sure.
That is the correct answer.
Yeah.
The only time I do is if I have rough feet and I have to put lotion on them and I want them to soften up.
Yeah.
And even then I'm unhappy.
And normally halfway through the night,
Oh, they're gone.
I'm like, this has to stop. I can't live like this anymore.
I mean, yeah.
And now, did we unlock a new fear in you?
Yeah, like, did we ruin you to show you that, like, it actually is fucking happening, that things are getting your feet in the real world?
Ugh, that's crazy though, like, that people have been charged with that. So, like, your weird fear that you're like, oh, it's because of the boogeyman from when I was 10, from when I was 4. But
Learning some things about Amanda. Okay.
I'm fine. Like, boogeyman, come at me. Like, you're no worse than the scary ghost that we lived with. So
Yeah, that's fair.
but like, yeah, from like small children being scared of things being under their bed. I know, like, for my son, when he was a little bit smaller, he'd be like, I'm scared. And we had room spray, like monster spray type stuff.
So cute.
If you don't have it already, there is sleep spray and it smells amazing. It has like lavender and stuff.
And it's been clinically proven to dispel monsters and boogeymen. Wink.
Absolutely.
Wink.
And yeah, no, I'd be like, it helps protect against monsters and bad dreams. But it does, like, he'd fall asleep just fine. And, you know, I'd always check the closet, make sure nothing's in there. But like growing up like that, right? Like, oh, it could be this. And then, you know, most adults don't believe that the boogeyman exists. And then knowing that there's actually people, though, that will break into your house and grab your feet is very unsettling.
Yeah. No.
It's happened.
Like, don't break into my house generally, but don't, like, I think, like, my feet specifically, because I'm already scared of it. I'm like, ah, like, it's real. Like, I was right. Like, that's what it felt like.
Lindsay's biggest rules: do not bring a haunted doll into her house, and please do not break in to touch her feet. She needs a sign made.
You know how people
House
have, like, in
rules.
this house we believe in da-da-da. In this house we don't bring in dolls and you don't break in to touch my feet. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. I love it. We definitely have to, like, We'll see like what kind of merch we can make to get like signs made that say that.
True Creeps house rules.
Yeah, True Creeps house rules. Well, we need an Amanda and a Lindsay version.
I think we should just put them all together.
No, we can't, because in this house we respect the Basilosaurus on yours. You can have Ouija boards in yours. I don't have Ouija boards in my house. So we have 2 different ones where you fall. Now, would you like to end on a very sweet note?
Of course.
About feet touching?
Oh, I hate feet though, but okay.
This came up a lot in how I was researching things, I guess, but apparently it's a good relationship sign if you hold feet with your significant other in bed. Like, if you just touch feet, because like, you're not full on cuddling, because we're fucking adults. Like, you're not like spooning every second of every day. But like, if you're like, scrolling on your phone and like you guys are touching feet, it's a cute sign. It's a good sign. It's like a subtle intimacy. Amanda is literally fucking like horrified right now. Keep your fucking feet away from me.
Yeah, I don't want feet near me.
Do you have strong feelings about feet?
I don't like feet. Like, they're dirty. Like, you walk on them. I don't want them near me.
When I was a teenager, I was staying at a friend's house and we were walking around. I was barefoot. She had socks on, but I don't like socks, so I wasn't wearing socks.
I hate socks. I would rather live barefoot than ever wear a sock.
I started wearing them because I've broken a few glasses in my home, and having like literally like 3 days in a row where I stepped in like a tiny shard of glass and had to get it on my foot. It was a whole thing. This is 35. Anyway, I'm walking around my friend's house. I'm barefoot. She has socks. It doesn't really matter. We're just walking around. Her cousin was staying with her. We walked up to her. This girl screams bloody fucking murder. Like a scream queen slasher flick scream. And I'm like, what do we see? Is there a bug? Is there a murderer? Am I gonna die? Is the floor opening up? Is there a ghost? Is that man from Gerald's game about to lick my feet? And I'm like, what? I'm like startled, right? And she's like, feet. And I was like, what? And she's like, your feet are there. And I'm like,
yeah, they're attached.
They are generally at the bottom of my body. Yes, that's where they're located. And she's like, but I can see them. And I was like, if you're going to have a relative who is afraid of feet, you have to let your guests know that. You simply cannot let this happen.
You know what? Everyone has that person in their life. I knew someone that would wear socks to go swimming.
Absolutely not. Why? What was the point of that?
Not to look at feet.
But not everybody else is going to do that.
I know.
Interesting. I'm going to leave that pause in because I feel like it's really important because I'm processing.
Lindsay has questions. It's something.
Well, how about like, no, we're not going to go there, but like people who wear socks all the time? Silly. How do you take someone seriously? Take off your fucking socks.
Right? Well, a couple weeks ago, Lindsay knows, right before recording time, I cut my foot open.
Oh my God. She was like, I might need stitches, but don't worry. I'll be ready to record. I was like, why don't you go do what you need to do and I'll be around.
Yeah. So I cut my foot open and it's healing. It's fine now. I refuse stitches because, like, never. I'd rather glue myself back together. So I glued myself back together multiple times. And my foot is still kind of swollen. And I had to wear shoes because everyone knows I train dogs and you don't want to go in flip-flops. So I had a training and I was like, oh, I have to wear shoes today. And it was awful. Hate socks, hate shoes. I just want flip-flops for life. And that's the only downside to moving to Baltimore that I can find, is that there are times that flip-flops will not work.
Look, ask my Florida husband. Flip-flops all year.
Snow flip-flops? Do they make snow flip-flops?
He wears them in the snow. He looks fucking ridiculous. He'll be like walking over to my brother's house. I'm like, are you in flip-flops? And he's like, you know it. Like, he'll be like in like a winter jacket and sweatpants and like flip-flops. If it's a quick like walk across the yard. Well, we want to know. Are you sleeping with your feet covered? Is your door unlocked? What time do you go to bed?
Us 10 minutes ago.
We're circling back on our action items. Look, this is a good corporate meeting. Honestly, and also, if you are a sock sleeper, what kind of socks? Are you shin socks? No-shows? Or those fluffy ones?
Fluffy ones for surezies.
Those are very warm.
I know, but I think, like, I live in hell, and I just assume everyone else lives in a magical climate where it's not 97 degrees every day during winter.
Yeah, but, like, you still have, like your feet will trap your heat. So, like, I will wake up with sweaty feet if I wear the little, like, fluffy ones.
I know, but why do they make them? Does no one wear them?
Tell us. We love you. Goodbye.
We'll see you again this week.
Have a good rest of your week.
Thanks for creeping with us.
Thanks for listening, and as always, a special thank you to our patrons who support us via Patreon.
Please see the link in our show notes to learn more about how you, yes you, can begin to haunt the dump, guard vortexes, or even become a scorching Sasquatch.
Ooh. Also in our show notes, you can find the link to our website, more information on our sources, our social media handles, and our merch store.
We'd love for you to keep creeping with us. So if you like this episode, please subscribe, rate, review, and share the show with your fellow creeps and or ghosts.
I beg of you.
Trust your gut. You go girl. Don't forget, people can lick too.